I just arrived at the Bar Harbor Inn in Bar Harbor, Maine. I've never been to Maine before and I'm really excited to be here. I'm Susan Irby, your healthy lifestyle expert. I'm here to share with you what is so wonderful about wild blueberries. I found David Yarborough, and David, what is your official title on this trip? I think he's wild blueberry specialist. That's an understatement. This man knows everything there is to know about wild blueberries and then some. What's your favorite part about working with blueberries, the wild blueberries?
Well, you never know what's going to happen next.
That's true. We're in the beautiful blueberry barrens here in Maine. We are in Cherryfield, Maine, and we are the lucky people to visit Wyman's. Wyman's is one of the largest producers of, harvesters of blueberries in Maine, and these are the wild blueberries. And they're one of the only wild blueberry farms in North America. And years ago, if you want to look out here, all of this was a glacier like 10,000 years ago. And when the glacier receded, it kind of broke down the soil, and there was a bunch of sand, and then it left. All of a sudden, these crazy, fun, wild blueberries started growing, and they've been harvesting them ever since. Toured the Wyman plant. I couldn't show it to you because we're not allowed to take any pictures, so you'll get to see the sign. We're Dave Bell, and he's with Cherryfield Farms, and we are in the middle of the blueberry barrens, wild blueberry barrens, and I wanted to talk to Dave because, Dave, these blueberries are huge. Now, when we were originally talking wild blueberries, you guys were saying that normally they're smaller than cultivated blueberries, but these blueberries are gigantic. I mean, that's big. Yeah.
Well, you are correct, Susan. Usually wild blueberries are smaller, and even these large ones are smaller than many of the cultivated varieties. But if you look across this field, the majority of the clones, yes, are smaller. But the reason this clone happened to grow so big is probably due to, number one, its genetic diversity, so it will naturally tend to grow a little bit larger. But it's also a couple reasons related to our management. Number one is we had pretty good pollination weather and an ample number of bees, and the more bee visits and the more pollen that's put on the flower.
And they go, each one of these was a flower, right? And
correct.
It goes to every single one. And it goes at least, what, 7 times or more?
Or more. That's one of the reasons that these are so big, so that the more pollen, the more seeds, the larger the berry. And then the other reason is that we've had a very moist summer here in Maine, so we've had ideal growing conditions. So you can see how healthy the plants are. So therefore, the plants have put their energy into growing the berries. So it's a combination of the genetic diversity, a lot of bee visits, and an ideal growing year.
Love it. Farms, and is one of the only organic wild berry farm producers here in Maine, and actually in all of the United States, quite frankly. I'm going to do some raking. So this is a rake, and this is how you cultivate the blueberries by hand. Okay, so put the rake in there. Just pull. Then you just keep going. Look at all those beautiful blueberries. You can see all the different, there's like different varieties.
Their flavor is more concentrated, and they have about twice the antioxidant value as cultivated blueberries.
Do you think the nutrients in the wild blueberries is maybe because they had to sort of fight, you know, to get through the earth?
Well, it's true.
Like working out.
It is. Weather in Maine can be a challenge, and where blueberries are growing along the coast, it's a nutrient challenge. These sandy soils that can be droughty, so this puts a lot of stress on the plant.
Right.
blueberries react from that stress by increasing the phytochemicals in the skin. So a little bit of stress actually is good.
Yeah,
Too
a
much,
little bit of stress is good.
Always good.
And then they make blueberry wine to help you de-stress.
Yeah, right.
So can you just give a tiny little insight into why the frozen wild blueberries are still going to be healthier for you than their cultivated counterparts? As you said, you shared with us that the cultivated ones are called tame as opposed to wild.
Yes, the tame blueberries actually have been specifically bred for the fresh market. When we pick our wild blueberries, they're harvested once over and certainly picked sequentially.
Right.
And they're brought in within 24 hours and frozen. And this freezing process really locks in the nutrients. Whereas if you get fresh blueberries in the store, they've probably traveled a week or so, they've been picked up right. So the quality of the berries and the nutrient content is a lot less.
And they're tasty, they're delicious, and they're available year round.
They are.
Yay, in the freezer.
Just gonna have to know where to look for them.
Thank you so much, David. I hope you've enjoyed this introduction to the wild blueberry barrens of Maine. I'm Susan Irby, and remember that wild blueberries have twice the antioxidants as their tame, cultivated cousins. I'm signing off from beautiful Bar Harbor, Maine. Nothing better than finishing the day with some wild Maine blueberry wine. Cheers.